Compound paths and clipping masks are two special techniques that you can use to combine shapes on your artboard. Let's start with this shape here. You'll see that I have a circle behind everything, and then there's a star with a bunch of other circle shapes on top. I'm going to select everything by using my black arrow and a marquee shape around them. And then with my Shift key selected, I'm going to deselect the circle behind because I really just need these shapes to create a compound path. So you could go to the Object menu and choose Compound Path Make. You could use the keyboard shortcut Command or Control 8, or you could right-click to access the Context menu and choose Compound Path. When you do that, the shapes on top of your backmost object are like cookie cutters or hole punches, punching through to like little windows, see the object behind. I always think of this like holes in Swiss cheese that you can see through, like you're holding up a flimsy piece of Swiss with all these holes in it and you're looking through it at this pink-purple circle behind you. That shape is a single unified shape, and those circles will not be moved unless or until you move them. Yes, you can move them. You can move them with your white arrow, and all you need to do is click on one of the edges and then click in the center. Since they're hollow shapes, you have to select them on their paths first, and then if you wanted to move the whole thing, you have to click in the center, and then it could be repositioned. So if I wanted to move that one down here and like click this one, clicking on its center and moving that here, I could do that. So you can reposition these at any time. However, with a compound path, if you were to move one of the cutout shapes off the edge of the shape itself, what you'll get is a cutout right to the edge of the background shape, and then a bubbling out of a continuation of the color of that shape. So let me put it over here so you can see what's happening. It's almost like, remember when we were working with the pen tool, when you went over the pen tool and it filled with a solid shape? So this compound path area is extending beyond the shape. It's actually becoming part of the star shape. So you want to pay special attention if that's unintentional. You just want to make sure that you don't have any shapes that extend beyond the outline of your clipping path shape. You can at any time release a compound path by accessing the Context menu and choosing Release Compound Path. You could also isolate the selected path in isolation mode and then work on moving the individual pieces this way. Sometimes that might be easier than trying to isolate the individual pieces. And then you could go in with your white arrow and modify the shape of these if you wanted to, then just exit out of isolation mode. So let's see. If you wanted to release, like so, the only drawback to releasing is that all the coloration that was there before is lost because the compound path shapes will take on the attributes of the most background shape that there is. Let's exit out of isolation mode and we'll move this guy up here. Now, when you have an overlapping shape like this and you do Compound Path Make, the overlapping area gets cut out. It's almost like this little window shape. And that's a really neat way of making special graphics that have see-through areas. So in essence, the compound path is like a cutaway. Remember the Pathfinder panel? It's almost like cutting it away, except for this is a live editable shape, which means that that space is not truly invisible. It's only temporarily invisible. Let's grab these guys as well, and we'll do Compound Path Make, or Make Compound Path. You can see the overlapping shapes here. Again, if you wanted to modify the position of any of these, just kind of click on one. You might need to go into isolation mode to actually isolate the individual pieces. So like maybe I wanted to move this one over and move that one down, something like that. And you notice how the shapes are overlapping, creating other unique shapes on either side. So that's kind of cool, actually. Let's go out of the compound paths area. So now I'd like to talk about clipping masks. Clipping masks are different from compound paths in that you can use a shape to mask another shape. So for instance, I have a picture of the Mona Lisa, which I can place into the file. And let me scale that down so it's roughly the same size. There we go. So now if I wanted to place the word Lisa right here and bring it to the front, like so, I can create a clipping mask from the letter shape. So text is on top, image is behind, and then you could isolate these in isolation mode, and you can either edit the clipping path of the clipping mask or edit the contents. So if I wanted to shift it down so that at least one of those eyes is showing, one of those mysterious eyes, like so, I just have to come into isolation mode to do it. Now this is live editable type, which means I could come back in here and add the word Mona. And then if I wanted to shift the text over a little bit to make sure that I have both of her eyes the way I like it. And when I'm done, come out of isolation mode. Then if I wanted to move the object, it moves as a single unified piece. As with your compound paths, you could release this at any time by accessing the context menu and choosing Release Clipping Mask. But I think it looks pretty cool, so let's keep it on the artboard. Now I want to place a little bit of art, so go to the File, Place menu, and we'll choose a butterfly. And that's huge, so let's scale that one down as well. And I can place a shape on top, so let's do an ellipse. Make it a little bit bigger so we can put the butterfly right in the center, like so. And then do clipping mask. So let's do it this way, Object, Clipping Mask, Make. And now we have this object. We can add a stroke to it if we want. So let's say we wanted to put a nice big green stroke. Let's increase the stroke weight. And for that matter, we could even put another colored object behind it. And send that to the back. Like so. Maybe a different color would look better. But anyway, you get the general idea of how you can work with clipping masks because you can isolate the object and move it around. It's a single object. If at any time you wanted to modify its properties, just remember you can use these little buttons up here on the control bar to edit the contents or edit the path itself.